It may not seem like it now, but there was a blackout period for fans of comic book films, particularly of the DC variety. As mentioned in the previous deconstruction of Jack Black's unfinished adaptation of Green Lantern, during the late 90s and early aughts, DC just couldn't get it right. Batman and Robin is often looked at as the nail in DC's coffin, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. While being considered critically abysmal, Batman and Robin nearly made twice its budget back at the box office. It was by no means a financial flop, in spite of failing to top or even meet the same level of profit as the series' previous installment, Batman Forever.
When they first asked me if I would do a new Batman movie, I thought, this will be fun. Then when we got into it, I thought, this isn't going to be fun. This is a big task.
I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune, and boy, was I shocked by the new Batman movie. It's so overproduced. Every scene is so action-filled that the movie does all of the thinking and emoting for us, and you just sit there looking at dazzling effects, yes, but you still feel bored. George Clooney is a good-looking bore in his role, and boring is the last word I would have expected to use so often in describing such a high-powered and overproduced Batman movie.
1997 may not have been the best year for comic book films, but it was an especially poor year for Warner Brothers. The failures to have emerged at the end of the 90s spoke more to poor management than comic book fatigue. While fans may have been repulsed by Joel Schumacher's use of bat nipples and the fact that the once dark Burton-helmed franchise had been led down the path of 1960s camp, moviegoers and Warner Brothers executives were not ready to lay the Batman franchise to rest just yet. On the contrary, the reaction to Batman and Robin seemed to energize everyone working behind the camera. One thing was clear, though.
If I freeze, I'm Batman.
They needed to make a change. On the cusp of the new millennium, there was a blooming fascination with technology in film, entertainment, and strongest of all, aesthetic. The Matrix, released March 31st, 1999, is perhaps the best example of the 90s cyberpunk wave that exploded upon all forms of media. It was only a matter of time before this desire for more stylistic futurism infiltrated the comic book genre. Spider-Man 2099 was the first known cyberpunk style of superhero of the 90s. But he didn't quite catch on, as well as Batman Beyond did for DC. The futuristic Caped Crusader originated in the Kids WB series Batman Beyond, created by Batman the Animated Series veterans Alan Burnett, Paul Dini, and Bruce Timm. Will Friedle of Boy Meets World fame voiced the Rookie McGinnis, and Batman the Animated Series actor Kevin Conroy returned to his role as Bruce Wayne. In this series, Bruce Wayne, now elderly, served as a mentor to Terry McGinnis, helping him navigate his role as the Dark Knight of a new era. This series took place within the continuity of the prior WB animated series and was immediately considered a critical and financial hit.
Yeah, there is something here, especially if we can make it a continuation of the show we've been doing. Let's skip ahead 40 to 50 years and see what Bruce Wayne's life is like. And that became kind of fascinating from a writer's point of view, because we were able to use the seeds we had planted in the original series and see how Bruce's life had progressed. Had he cleaned up crime in Gotham City? Not really. What had his struggle against crime brought him? He was a lonely old man living in a giant mausoleum with a dog as his only companion. So, it's sad that that's what his vision brought him to. But you bring in this new character, Terry McGinnis, and suddenly that is like a shot of life for this guy.
Not long after, Warner Brothers Entertainment released not one, but two Batman Beyond films direct to VHS. The first was Batman Beyond the Movie, released in May of 1999, which had combined the first two episodes of the animated series into a 41-minute excursion. The second was the wildly more popular and, for the time, controversial Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker found two different cuts of the film released almost 2 years apart. The second film had originally been scheduled for a release of Halloween 2000, but was pushed back until December over last-minute creative conflicts. Due to the Columbine massacre a year earlier, Warner Brothers wasn't feeling particularly comfortable having a flashback sequence featuring the young Tim Drake gunning down the Joker in a manic haze. And so prior to the film's release, they opted to give the Clown Prince of Crime an off-screen death. Warner Brothers didn't stop there and went on to make over 15 other cuts to the original film before slapping a not-rated label onto the final product. The PG-13 version of Batman Beyond Return of the Joker was released in 2002, featuring all of the scenes cut from the original film, including the Joker's gunshot demise. Both versions of the movie were met with critical praise, and at the time, it seemed like Batman Beyond would have a bright future in entertainment. The series and its animated films landed at the exact right time, following the abysmal Joel Schumacher outing Batman and Robin. It was a period where there was otherwise almost no other Batman-related content for fans to soak up. On the surface, it should have been a prosperous period for fans of the character. During the years of 1998 and 2000, there were between 3 to 5 different sequels, prequels, and spin-offs commissioned by Warner Brothers. In 2000, following the success of the Disney hit Remember the Titans, director Boaz Yakin, who had previously been known for his writing in the 1989 adaptation of The Punisher and Clint Eastwood's The Rookie, had pitched a live-action version of Batman Beyond to Warner Brothers. The film, like the animated series, would see a teenager don the cape and cowl under the guidance of a now elderly Bruce Wayne. Unlike the series, however, this movie would fall within the Burton and Schumacher continuity of films, taking place a great deal of time after its predecessor, Batman and Robin. Yakin's interest in the project, however, was considered debatable at best. Batman Beyond was primarily looked at by both he and his agent as a career move.
I started out in the film business writing a lot of action movies when I was very young, but I've never directed one. And I think one of the reasons I never directed one was because I never really found one with an emotional hook or a character that I felt connected to that would make directing it not feel like directing traffic, because action is very technical and it's very detail oriented, and some people really enjoy that, but for me, unless I'm connecting emotionally to something or to a character, I don't find myself very engaged.
Yakin, after having worked on a big-budget studio film for nearly a year, wanted to pursue something a little more indie. His agent, however, argued that it would be wiser if he instead channeled his momentum following Remember the Titans into yet another studio film. Yakin allegedly rebuffed jokingly, "I won't do anything short of Batman." So, his agent booked him that meeting with Warner Brothers. From the very beginning, Yakin was iffy about the project, not knowing much about the property beyond it being Batman and neo-noir in aesthetic. He had looked at it as an opportunity to explore a Blade Runner-esque canvas using the genre's most popular hero. To hopefully right the direction of the ship, Batman Beyond series writers Alan Burnett and Paul Dini were brought in by Warner Brothers per the request of Yakin to scribe the film's screenplay. Like Yakin, both Burnett and Dini from the jump had their reservations about the movie. But those reservations were in direct cause with Yakin's disheartened attitude. Though optimistic about the project, he was still unsure about what he had gotten himself into. According to Dini, it was pretty evident that the film was not going to make it through a successful production. While Warner Brothers loved the concept of Batman Beyond and Yakin's pitch, Dini and Burnett's script wasn't quite hitting it. The executives opted to bring in Snow Crash author Neil Stephenson to shepherd the screenwriting process and punch up the story and its science fiction elements. In a now-buried interview with Kevin Smith for the podcast Fat Man on Batman, Paul Dini, while discussing Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, was asked about the script. He was quoted as saying, "It was fine. It wasn't like Return of the Joker. It was set in Gotham future, but it didn't quite have the fantastic futuristic edge. It was sort of like an amalgam. There was a little bit of Dark Knight, there was a little bit of contemporary comics, and there was Terry in the suit and everything. It was old Bruce Wayne. So they were in it, but it was just a little bit, I don't know. For whatever reason, Return of the Joker was a more successful film. The first draft went in and needed some work, then basically everybody decided it was better, rather than spend a lot of time on this, let's just table it." Beyond that, no pun intended, not much is known about the contents of the script, as unlike seemingly every other Batman film greenlit during this period, it has never been leaked. Yakin, in a somewhat recent interview, said his vision for the film would have been reminiscent to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, though naturally darker in tone. Around 2002, the project was officially deemed retired at Warner Brothers. Yakin, feeling disimpassioned, exited Batman Beyond, and both Alan Burnett and Paul Dini followed shortly thereafter. To date, nobody has had anything that positive to say about the would-be film. As a matter of fact, Yakin is thankful he didn't go through with it, and believes it could have very well been a blight on his career. And so, the drought of live-action Batman films continued, but that didn't stop fans from trying to stifle it. Next time I'll be diving into the Batman fan films released during the cinematic blackout period. For $5 a month or more, patrons receive exclusive access to all deconstructions 2 weeks before they publicly hit the channel. Consider contributing at patreon.com/LowRes or the brand new LowRes Wünderbred website, lowres.live. Thanks for watching, and if you have any thoughts on this deconstruction, videos to come, or Batman Beyond in general, please sound off in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, thumbs down if you didn't, and I will catch you next time.